Good morning, sir.
Good
Good
morning.
morning, sir.
Good morning, Simran, Siddhant. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. So, is the doubt session still going on in the last class?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so probably we can wait for 1 or 2 minutes and then we can get started. So, meanwhile, so I hope everyone is doing well. They had hopefully nice first.
Good morning, sir.
So, yeah. So, those who had tutorial on Monday, can anyone comment what you have done?
So we discussed
Interaction
basically about ID, UX, UI, and one more thing, HCI. Yeah, these four terms were discussed.
and difference between interaction and communication.
Okay,
Sir,
difference
sir is
between.
asking about Tute. So
Intuit we did.
Okay. Okay. Anyone else want to add anything?
That we discussed about the overlap of ID and HCI.
Overlap of ID and
HCI.
HCI.
okay. Would you like to comment what it is?
Well, ID has its origin with designing, right? That kind of things. And HCI originated from a computer science kind of perspective. And then later on, we were trying to combine it because they had many things similar. And implementing that caused a little bit of overlap. So we were discussing about that and other things.
Very nice. So those who have not done the tutorial, hopefully you will cover it today, groups 1 to 4, right?
So we also saw the difference between inclusiveness and accessibility.
Okay, nice. So we can get started. I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so which are the 3 groups we'll be presenting today? I hope we have all 3 groups today.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
Yes, sir. Group 17.
Okay, so probably meanwhile we are waiting for how many people are here. So probably a couple of people are still missing. So what we can do, we can quickly add them as a co-host. So who will be presenting from group number 1? Which, please tell the name. Aditya?
So all 3 of the group members will be. I will be sharing the screen, but
Yeah.
all
So
3
who
of
will
us
be
will
sharing the
speaking.
screen?
So I will be sharing a screen. Aditya
Please
Garg.
tell. Aditya Garg, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what I will do, I will make you as a co-host. Who else from other group?
So Aftab from our group.
Sorry, could you repeat the name?
So Aftab Hussain from our group. Group 2-4.
Okay. Aftab Hussain, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Last group?
So Kshitij Bajaj from 5-9.
Kshitij Bajaj. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay, so all 3 groups are. So what we will do, you will have close to 10 minutes. So, and we'll be covering your presentation by end of this class. So let's get started now. So thanks everyone. So this will be the last lecture on the chapter 1. And I hope many of you have already read the chapter. If not, then please read the chapter, because whatever the concept and everything we are discussing, at least since we have started and will be ending today, all the concepts are from the book, has already been shared with you. And so feel free to go through that, ask if you have any questions with the TAs, to myself, and so on. And you can also discuss among your small groups that you already made, right? So that will be very, very important, irrespective of which stream you are belong to, because this design thinking and the concept is going to help you throughout any system that you'll be working. So with this note, let's get started. Okay, so we're still missing close to 40 people, but it's fine. Okay, so let's get started. Just a quick recap. So we have discussed about what are the core characteristics of interaction design in the last class. So we have discussed in great details why users should be involved throughout the development of the project. And we have also discussed specific usability and the user experience goal need to be identified, clearly documented, and agreed to at the beginning of the project. Anybody want to comment why in the beginning of the project? Kshitij, would you like to comment? Why it has to be finalized in the beginning of the project?
Sorry, what, the user base?
Yeah, I mean usability, user experience, I mean everything as I'm mentioning here.
So because that basically decides what the product should look like, what it should end up like. If we don't decide it before starting on the project, then we'll have to change the project after we prototype it. We'll have
So
to
does
add
it
a
mean
lot of-
that we are not going to make any changes in the future? I mean, in the
we will make changes after we make a prototype, but simply not going through this process first will definitely increase our workload after we prototype it.
okay. Anurag, since you have raised hand, so yeah, so you probably may comment on the last part. Iteration is needed throughout the core activity. Yeah, Anurag.
Yeah, iteration is needed, sir, because if, for example, while the testing the prototype, there is some error or anything, we have to go back to the development part or even back to the
So is
serving
it
part.
always the error which basically cause the iteration or something else as well?
It can be more of the user demands. For
Mhm.
example, user demands something else, something more from the product. We
So
can.
are you saying that the user demand or the user requirement also changes over the time?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Rishabh, you want to add anything?
So I don't want to add anything. I was going to request you to please turn your video off. There are some internet issues here, and I'm
Sure.
unable to hear
No
you.
issue. No
Thank
issue
you,
at
sir.
all. I hope
Excuse
it
me,
is fine
sir.
now. Yes.
Sir, I want to ask this that in presentation we have to give. Can we present an idea or suggestion of a new app, or we have to only comment on existing designs?
So as I told in the last class as well, I mean, you are free to choose anything, right? I mean, the best part is we are not grading you on this, right? So if you're not grading it means you are free to choose anything. You are free to add all your creativity with this, right? So let me give you an example, right? So do anybody know how the earlier computer system work? So for example,
Can you please
how
repeat
does the
the question?
computer works in say like 1970s, 80s and so on?
Correct user interface.
Sir,
So you
sir,
mean those
Yeah,
big size computers?
So it used huge vacuum
basically
tubes
those were
instead
like,
of transistors.
Sir, it had huge monitors.
so it was
Huge
like a
monitors.
very big system and multiple people were required to run one computer.
Sir,
Yeah.
P4 type computers.
Very nice. Very nice. So what part such kind of system were missing at that time?
They could only perform some functions, not all.
Okay, assume whatever the functionality and they need to do compute at that. I mean,
So
they
we
need to
didn't have a user interface at that time.
Also,
We
there
used
was
to
no
Because
graphical
they
user
didn't have the
interface.
access
It
to
was
transistor
all
technology.
command line.
right. So there were, I mean, you rightly mentioned. So one thing which was missing at that time is the user interface. I mean, and even the people probably over that, because earlier people used to work only with the command prompt, right? And even before the command prompt, if you know, I mean, they load the instruction by loading the drive or something, right? So I mean, this is how as you can see in this particular interaction between human and the computer at that time, the human interaction SCI, that human computer interaction part, were actually missing, isn't it? Right?
Yes.
So
Yes,
so
sir.
that is the thing, that's how the graphical user interface came, and that is the reason I mean, despite Linux was, you can say, the better than Windows at that time. And in fact, Windows is kind of derived from the Linux itself, right? But why Windows probably got more popularity? Because it has graphical user interface, right?
Yes, sir.
So just to facilitate this, I mean, can you name me a device which has changed this whole human computer interaction part.
Sir, Mac,
For-
Mac,
Smartphone. Sir, Mac OS.
Sir, Mac OS.
No, you have probably it's wrong on my side. Like probably I'm asking some question where when you are not born, even probably you are not born that time.
So
Can you
monitor.
think of whatever the all active, whatever all the devices that you have, whatever all the devices that you have, and can you think of a device which has changed the interaction between human and computer?
Mobile phone.
Mouse.
Mobile phone.
Typing,
calculators,
IBM.
Someone just has said mouse.
Yes,
I mean, how simple it is, right? Simple as I mean, the mouse is doing nothing. I mean, in a sense, if you, I mean, it's not a, I mean, it's a just very small device. It's a very small device, which you can say the bridging the interaction between human and computer. And okay, so before let me get to the next point. So please raise your hand who know what is Nobel Prize.
Yes, sir.
How many people are aware of Nobel Prize? Only Rakshit is aware of Nobel Prize? No one else?
I have raised my hand.
Sir, we've raised our hand.
Sir, we have quite a few hands, sir.
I mean, I can only see Rakshit. Oh, sorry. I think it's sorry. So I can see, I mean, there is many people basically raise the hand. Okay, so now just update your raised hand and who know the Nobel Prize winner of computer science.
For this
There
year.
is no.
Who is the Nobel Prize winner of computer science this year, last year? Don't do Google, just tell me. I cannot see any hand anymore. Okay, I still have Aditya Nangia. Aditya, who is the Nobel Prize winner in computer science? Okay, so you have unraised it.
Sir, I lowered my hand.
Okay. Anyone? I can still see Bhavesh. So Bhavesh, you would like to comment?
So, but I think there is no Nobel Prize for computer science as a separate distinction.
Okay.
Sir,
So there is, if there is
think you are
no
talking
Nobel
about
Prize in
Turing
computer
Award, right?
science. Sorry?
Are you talking about Turing Award?
Yeah, I'm actually coming to that. So yeah, so
Yes.
if there is no there is no Nobel Prize in computer science, there must be something equivalent, right? So that is
Yes, sir.
equivalent prize is called ACM Turing Award.
Yes, sir.
So ACM Turing Award is, you can say, the equivalent of Nobel Prize in computer science area. And you may be surprised to know, I mean, the person who invented mouse got the Turing Award for this work. I mean, what he did a very simple thing, right? I mean, all the interaction were already happening earlier. So what he did simply just invented a mouse, which basically helped, or you can say, the facilitate the interaction between human and computer. So that is the thing. That is the thing. We want you to encourage. We want you to be innovative. Often people don't do such innovation. Often people don't think out of the box because they fear about grading, marks, and so on. And that is the reason we remove that part, at least for the from the presentation. So now you're free to think anything. Now you're free to just think anything, right? I mean, there is no age limitation, and there are many people. How many of you know Elon Musk? I hope most of you, right? And probably
Yes, sir.
you may also know.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please let me complete. So probably you may also know now he is the richest person in the world.
Yes, sir. Now he is the second.
So
Now he's second.
second he was there, but he was the first person at least for some time, and he will probably the richest person again. I mean, that's not a big deal. Okay, I mean, there is not much difference between first and second anyways, right? So what is the thing? I mean, he was so innovative. Do you know, I mean, what was his first product?
Sir, he made a game. Sir, he made a game last time. He made a game. He made a game.
Yes, sir, he made a game first when he was 10.
Very nice. Yeah, very nice that you are aware of all those. So I mean, he was able to do all those, and we can take any example. I mean, like Mark Zuckerberg, right? He left his formal education and jump into social network, invented probably Facebook along with other colleagues. Same with Steve Jobs. He never went for the formal school. I mean, the formal degree in computer science. Same for the Microsoft owner, right? I mean, so I'm not asking you to step down with the study. You can continue to do so, and there are many good examples who have basically achieved a lot due to education. So I only want to encourage that think about it. Be more innovative. Think about it. Let your basically thinking go beyond anything. I mean, so that you can achieve by discussing among your group, because when you discuss with your group, because you come across many other things, right? You come across basically something. That's why I said, I mean, you need to look about the problems around you and simply think, I mean, what are the thing you can do in order to ease the thing. I mean, for example, something is already happening. In that case, what you can do basically to facilitate that. Similarly, if some problems around you which probably you don't think there is solution exist, then just propose some solution. I'm not asking you to solve it. I'm just asking you to propose some solution. I'm asking you to comment on its usability, feasibility, and other aspect that I have mentioned. Am I clear here?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So since we're talking about mouse, so do you know who is the inventor of mouse? As we already discussed,
Sir
is the Turing
Douglas
Award.
Engelbart.
Okay, very nice. So did you know, or you just Google it?
No, sir, I knew, sir.
Sorry, you knew?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Very nice, very nice. That's good. So yeah, so I mean, you will see a lot of opportunities. In fact, I had basically a great opportunity to discuss and meet many ACM Turing Award winners 2 years back, and this year many of my students will be meeting them. So there is some event called Heidelberg Laureate Forum. So they invite all the, you can say, the Turing Award winner, Field Award winners, and all the such kind of laureates in computer science and mathematics in Germany, a city called Heidelberg. And they invite basically the 200 top scientists across the world, young scientists, I would say, who basically meet such people and get more inspiration and so on. So hopefully you will also get opportunity. So just be aware, make yourself aware about different possibilities, different opportunities around you, and you can basically encash all those, and you can be succeeded. So I mean, the people often learns from the example. People often learns from the motivations, and there is a lot of stories beside you and in your environment, and you should learn from that. Okay. Any other questions here before we proceed? So I can see some chat. Okay. Okay, so it seems we are on the same page. So please acknowledge you are able to hear me. One person.
Yes, sir. We
Yes,
can.
sir,
Yes,
we
sir,
can
we
hear
can.
you. Very nice. Okay, then why basically we need to bring the design thinking? Why do we need to basically bring the user into the design? So just to recap, yeah. So to help designer basically so that understand how to design interactive product that fit with what people want, need, and may desire. Because unless you don't discuss with the different stakeholders, the interactive product will have, you're not able to, the designer is not able to model that, not able to build that, right? And that will basically also help users, help designer to understand, like, one side doesn't fit all. Can anybody give me one recent example for this? One size doesn't fit all. What do you mean by this?
Sir, induction t-shirts.
Nice. Okay.
I
Sir,
got the wrong size, sir.
sir, there is a game called Cyberpunk, sir, and it's still getting updates, sir, as it does not, does not removing bugs.
Okay.
Still having it. I haven't installed it.
Can anybody give some example of any electronic device that you use in your daily life, and which can
The smartphones come in multiple sizes.
Smartphone.
Computer.
That's another
Date format. The LED.
So TV remotes, because so many have different designs to match different target audience.
Mm-hmm.
The gaming consoles, because only children like adults don't usually use gaming consoles. So
Mhm.
the target audience is only the kids and like 18 till 18.
Right,
Sir,
right. So the whole idea is like, yeah, so different people have different limitations, different abilities, different capabilities. So yeah, so that's why I mean one thing cannot fit to everyone. So that is simple. So similarly, identify any incorrect assumption that may have about particular user group, because people often also have misconception, right? The and that misconception may be of any type. So for example, designer say never have so for example uh, a designer may have misconception like everybody say knows cooking, because around his life or probably he say, I mean everyone is cook, everyone cooks and eat, right? But that is because of his limited knowledge, right? And that is can only be resolved once, I mean the designer basically interact with different kind of user, right? So just for give one example that given in the book. So for example, designer may have misconception like the old people probably have less eyesight, or probably they want basically the big font or something, right? But that's not true, right? I mean there are many people around us who are probably more fit, who are basically the fitter than us, right? They probably have better eyesight than us, and probably they don't want big font. So it's basically not true to I mean the provide some functionality, or you can see the feature based on your understanding of whole group, because again that is not true. So that you have to be aware of, and the interacting with the users basically help designer to understand this. So beware of both people's sensitivities and their capabilities, right? The different people are sensitive to different things. Different people have different capabilities. So I hope now you are able to appreciate why you need to involve users in the different interactive product that you're building. So one thing now today I want to discuss about the difference between accessibility and inclusiveness. So though we have discussed this in some details in the earlier class, so here I want to probably provide more detailed and focused response. So inclusiveness is more, you can say, the broader term, and it's more you can think about is a like you can say the design thinking about the product. So inclusiveness is about making products and services that accommodate the widest possible number of people. For example, smartphone is designed for all and made available to everyone regardless of their disability, education, age, and income, right? And accessibility is the kind of, you can see is kind of one component of the inclusive design. So the extent to which an interactive product is accessible by as many as people as possible. So that is being focused on people with disability instances, for instance, using Android and OS or Apple vice versa. So accessibility is basically is an outcome, and inclusive design is a process. Am I clear here?
Yes, sir.
Good. So just to give some definitions, how the Microsoft design define the accessibility and inclusive design. So
Sir, can you explain again?
So the accessibility is about the qualities that make an experience open to all. Qualities that make an experience open to all. And inclusive design is about a design methodology that enables and draws on the full range of human diversity, right? So I strongly recommend you to go through this particular blog. I found this, it's very interesting and very knowledgeable, I believe. So you can go through this particular blog as well for the more details.
Sir, then what is the difference between both accessibility and inclusivity?
Yeah, that's what I mentioned here, right? So accessibility is an outcome, and inclusive design is more talking about process. So that is, you can say, it's a major difference that you probably having the difference, the similar example answer that you have given to me, the difference between SCI as well as the interaction design, right? So here basically the inclusiveness, we are talking more about the design methodology, the concept, and how you can achieve that. Basically the accessibility is the way it basically can be achieved.
Yeah,
So
okay.
that's what I mentioned here. So accessibility is basically the qualities that make experience open to all. So that quality could be, can you name a few? So for example, we are talking about smartphone, right? What are the qualities that we can discuss that make smartphone accessible to everyone? So for example,
Portable.
It's low price.
yeah, low price, right? Portability definitely is one thing. A low price, because not everyone can have Apple 10. So that may not be, you can say, that accessible. Of course, the idea is inclusive design idea is to, smartphones should be accessible to everyone, right? But that is not possible.
Compatibility.
Sorry?
Compatibility.
Compatibility is more about the feature, right? I mean, what are the features are compatible, or you can say what are the whatever the feature that you are providing is compatible in the given lower price or something, right? I mean, given the price. Isn't it?
A smartphone can be used in multiple languages. Like you can use
So I mean, so there are many, so that is also, the
So,
language
for
is also
example,
one of the
Samsung-
qualities. Yeah.
So easily available.
Yeah, easily availability is also.
So
So again,
touch screen.
so these are the qualities. So again, that's what I'm saying. I mean, here inclusive design, when we're talking about, it's more we are talking about design methodology. We are talking about methodology, right? And in accessibility, we are talking about the qualities that make experience open to all, right?
So, sir, can you give an example of inclusive design? If the qualities are that were listed there are part of accessibility.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is an example of inclusive design in the products today?
Okay, that's a very nice question. Anybody want to comment on this
Yes,
before
sir.
I comment?
Tesla electric vehicles weren't available in India before, but now they are available. So that's an inclusive design.
No, but that is that like related to design, like.
Electric chargers weren't available in India before. So
May I give an example?
Yeah, please.
Instead of making an stair, if we can make a slope like structure that can help in like traveling by wheelchair or anything. So that is inclusive design.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good example. So again, I mean, when we say the inclusive design, so here we are talking about design methodology. Here we are not talking about how to basically make accessible. I mean, suppose you're giving an example of elevator or something, right? We are not talking much about how you can provide that, right? So in accessibility, we are saying, okay, so what you can do, you can make a say elevator. You may basically make something different, right? Fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. So next part is disabilities. So when someone is disabled, and again that is changes. So what is your understanding of disability? Anybody? What do you think is disability?
Any condition of a human being which restricts them for a certain action.
Very nice.
When someone is disallowed of his
Sir,
ability.
So some quality or something that differentiates a person's and limits his ability to do a particular task, something that sets him aside from a large mass of crowd, that makes his needs special or different
So,
from the large.
Unable to do an action
Are
or perform an
these
action.
disabilities are permanent?
Not really.
No, sir,
Can
they
be.
can
Some are,
change
some
the
are not.
necessarily.
No, sir.
Depends.
Then how do you basically categorize different type of disabilities?
So something
Some are
that
from when we are born, and others are when we get old, maybe.
Some might be accidental.
Okay.
One is temporary and
Curable and non-curable.
Right. So, I mean, there are several ways basically you can understand disability and categorize them. Like disability can be classified as sensory impairment, right? Such as loss of vision or something. And again, there may be different levels of disability. So probably someone can be fully, cannot see at all, and someone probably can see a little, you can say the low vision. Similarly, someone can hear well, and someone is hard of hearing, right? Physically impairment, it could be like having loss of functions to one or more parts of the body after stroke, spinal cord, or it could be anything else. Cognitive, so it's including learning impairment or loss of memory, cognitive function due to the old age. So yeah, so each type can be further defined in terms of capability, and that could be no light perception, colorblind, and so on. And if you look at all those, you can divide into different. This impairment can be basically categorized into different, mainly into 3 classes. So one is permanent, like for instance, the long-term wheelchair user. Temporary, that is probably it's an after a small accident, you probably not able to walk well, but probably after a week or so you will be. Same probably for illness. Situational, for example, I'm perfectly fine, but in some environment I'm not able to work. So for example, in a noisy environment, I cannot hear, right? I mean, that's again kind of impairment, but it's more situational. Just to give an example, you can see, so that's why the disability is context dependent, and that context could be anything. It could be if you're talking about touch, the permanent could be like if you don't have one hand. Temporary could be probably your arm is injured, or probably it's too cold, like you don't want to take it out of your jacket. Situational, I mean, yeah, so for example, in this case, you cannot probably touch because you are taking care of your newborn baby, right? Can anybody give example of one more example for say temporary?
You're a person who is on a wheelchair due to an accident, like due to a broken leg or something like that.
Very nice. How about situational?
So someone who is carrying something with one hand or two hands, a box or some big heavy box, so don't have free hands.
Very nice, very nice. So same you can think of for see, hear, speak, and so on, right? So in that case, so what designer has to think about it. So then in that case, designing for users on the autistic spectrum. So user basically what they should do and what they shouldn't. Just give me a second. Just give me a minute. Okay. Yeah, so what I'm saying, I mean, here basically you can see for different type of issues, you can basically can do something and what you shouldn't, right? So for example, we have mentioned here for the people designing for the user with low vision. So what you have to do, so use kind of good color contrast and readable font size, instead of use low color contrast and small font size. So for example, here you can clearly read it's a AA, but here it is hard to see what is this, right? So I mean, this particular list is not very exhaustive, but you can think of more. I mean, these are very common do's and don'ts proposed by the designer after interacting and so on, so that you can think of. So often when you are going to propose any solution, just you should think about this. You should think about this. Okay. So similarly about being cool about disability. So for example, probably she cannot walk well. I mean, one possibility could be she just wear, you might have seen people probably suffering from polio or something, and they wear kind of artificial leg or something, which probably doesn't look well to some people, and at least the people may feel not good. So how we can make cool about it? So for example, in this case, you can see, I mean, her dress is probably designed like that. So it's more about wearing their wheels rather than using a wheelchair, right? And similarly about this, How many people know this person? Anybody know this person?
Oscar
Oscar
Pistorius.
Pistorius.
Very nice. Very nice. So who is this?
A runner.
Was
He's
a
a runner
runner.
from
Australian
South
Blade,
Africa.
Blade Runner.
Paralympic marathon runner.
Right. Very nice. So what is, I mean, if you look at this, probably you think, I mean, it's not too cool, but how about this? Right? He's Olympic runner and but I mean, something happened after them. He was alleged to, I mean, they killed his girlfriend, but anyways, I mean, he said it was accidental. So now I think he's still in prison, but yeah, so that's a different thing. But he was indeed a good runner, very good runner, and so on. So similarly, there are cultural differences, right? So
So
I
what
mean,
was that
sorry?
that's made for running?
No, not made for running. I mean, he was living with his girlfriend and he shoot her. So
No,
in house.
that right image. So
Yeah, that's for running. I mean, he's running, right?
yeah, he's running, but what's with that design, that hook shaped design? Like obviously leg
No,
shaped
I'm
design,
talking
but
about
how does
design in
that?
terms of, I mean, so here probably if he runs like that, he may not feel comfortable, right?
It's like a cheetah's leg.
That design has some suspension kind of thing, so jerks it easily नहीं लगते.
Yeah, it is.
That's a good design.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more about, yeah. So while running, he won't feel too much. I mean, his leg won't hurt. Right. Similarly, we are talking about cultural differences. So, like, what do you think? I mean, what is this? So, if
That's basically how Americans write
Different
date.
date formats.
yeah, so often, I mean, it's easy. I mean, when this probably, what if we would have written 5/5/2015, and similarly here 5/5/2050, are the same? Are they different? Right. So probably in the first case, probably I mean it's a 5th of May, and again.
Sir, it won't matter though, na? You made them both the same. If you say 5/6,
So
then
let's make it 5/6. Okay, you catch me, right? So let's make it 5/6. So in that case, it will be different, right? Whether it's a 5th of June or 6th of May, right? So I mean, the idea is, I mean, we need to understand what are the cultural differences, and because if, for example, a smartphone or probably some product has been launched in US or probably in UK, and then one in launch in India, right? Of course, you will show the date, but you'll have to follow. You need to adapt it based on your cultural differences, right? The way probably you show in other part of the world and as compared to the one you show in India, right? So that is why, I mean, why it is like certain product like smartphones are universally accepted by people from all parts of the world, whereas the people from different culture react to website differently. Usability goals. So that's why, because we discussed about, I mean, we should have good usability, we should have good user experience, and so on. I mean, that is we want to achieve as part of building interactive products. How you can basically what are the goals you should target in usability? So in case of usability, I mean, we focus on effectiveness. Effectiveness is about how good a product is at doing what it's supposed to do, right? That is how much effective it is. Similarly, when we talk about efficiency, so we're talking about more how the product supports user in carrying out their task. I mean, is it supportive, or is it like creating hurdles, right? Or something like that, or it's very difficult to navigate through the different buttons it has, right? Similarly, safety. I mean, when we are building different products, so how secure it is, how safe it is to perform different, you can say, the dangerous conditions or undesirable situation. Having right kind of functionality, that is utility. I mean, how you what is the utility of this particular interactive product? Is it having right kind of functionality that it's supposed to have? Similarly, learnability. It should be easy to learn, right? I mean, it shouldn't be suppose you want to drive a car, right? I mean, even though you know how to drive a car, but if you suppose have a car with probably some new company, I mean, how easy it is. So probably I can give an example. So those who drive, I mean, how many gears are there in the car?
So
So
depends.
generally
5 to 6.
5 plus 1.
5
5
plus.
Sir, five
5,
or
6, and
six.
7.
in
And
newer
reverse
cars.
one also in
For
sir,
six
5
automatic.
plus.
excluding reverse
Right.
gear.
Also the
5
reverse
Right.
gear.
So now
6 plus
typically you
1.
can see
6 plus 1.
earlier it used to be 5 plus reverse gear. So now
Yeah.
it is
6
5,
6
plus
plus
in
1.
fact 6
6
plus reverse
plus
gear,
1.
right?
And now
So that
7
is,
in automatic.
and it is basically easy to learn because you have not changed the design very significantly. You have just augmented it, right? So your design should be in such a way, but yes, so still, I mean, there are some design perspective, like as you know, I mean, in the older car, how you make the reverse gear as compared to the how you basically do reverse gear in the new cars. So, but still, I mean, as long as it is easy to learn, I mean, they are fine. Yeah. So, but there are many good example where they design a new system and that is totally different, and it's not possible to learn because human has limited learning capability, right? They cannot memorize everything. So it should be easy to remember how to use. So for example, for the first time you log into probably HDFC Bank, how to log in, what are the different functionalities provided there. So it should be memorable. It shouldn't be like, I mean, in the first day you put some login there and some other day you put the login button somewhere else and so on, right? And different.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, can we take the example of user interface of mobile?
Can we give?
Take the example of user interface because an MI user interface and the OnePlus user interface, though both have different.
Yeah. So that is for what? I mean, that is for which usability goal you're talking about?
Sir, like MIUI and an Oxygen US, both have user interface different.
Yeah.
to
So
use.
they are different. Yeah.
So
So ideally, yeah, so you are right in that sense. Ideally, it doesn't matter, right? Ideally, it doesn't matter which company mobile smartphone you are using, right? It should be easy to learn. It should be easy to navigate through the different functionality, right? So that's why, I mean, there is always setting button, right? If you go to setting, hopefully all the actions that you want to perform in the setting should be there, right? Similarly, there is some kind of store, right? So Apple may have Apple Store, Google may have Google Store, me may have MI Store.
Samsung Store.
Right? I mean, yeah, whatever. Okay. So similarly, usability and experience goals. So selecting terms to convey a person's feeling, emotion, and so forth can help a designer understand the multifaceted nature of the user experience. And we have already discussed about the usability goals. How do you think it is different from user experience goals? Do you think are the same? Or
I think
do you think they are different?
I think one comes under the other.
Is it?
Maybe.
Sir, I think
Sir,
that
I think like usability goals are more dependent on functionality, and user experience goals are more based on the interaction.
Very good, very good. So that's why there is a trade-off between two kind of goals, right? Because often you cannot achieve, I mean, exactly the same for both. So let me probably cover the user experience goal first. So in case of user experience goal, so desirable aspects are, it should be satisfying, it should be enjoyable, engaging, pleasurable, excitement, hopeful, fun, and so on. And undesirable aspects are boring, frustrating, and annoying, right? Gimmicking, unpleasant, and so on, right? So often, I mean, you can say you want to make it more exciting, pleasurable, but often if you want to add too much enjoy or probably fun aspect there, I mean, that may lead to basically that may affect the usability, right? Usability concept that you discussed. So that's why there is a kind of trade-off between those. So both are important, and in order to, based on application to application, based on the different interactive product that you're building, you need to find a trade-off and act accordingly. So how easy is to measure usability versus user experience goal?
feedback.
Sorry. Yeah. So for example, so let me show this particular video because we need to start the presentation probably in 10 minutes. So let me probably cover the rest of the slides. So why do you need DP? What do you think this DP is? I will ask this question, but let me play the video first.
Our company has a new strategic initiative to increase market penetration, maximize brand loyalty, and enhance intangible assets. In pursuit of these objectives, we've started a new project for which we require 7 red lines. I understand your company can help us in this matter.
Of course. Walter here will be the project manager. Walter, we can do this, can't we?
Yes, of course. Anderson here is our expert in all matters related to the drawing of red lines. We've brought him along today to share his professional opinion.
Nice to meet you. Well, you all know me. This is Justine, our company's design specialist. Hello. We need you to draw 7 red lines, all of them strictly perpendicular, some with green ink and some with transparent. Can you do that?
No, I'm afraid. Let's not rush into any hasty answers, Anderson. The task has been set and needs to be carried out. At the end of the day, you are an expert.
The term red line implies the color of the line to be red. To draw a red line with green ink is, well, if it's not exactly impossible, it's pretty close to being impossible.
What does that even mean? Impossible.
I mean, it is possible. There are some people, say, suffering from color blindness, for whom the color of the lines doesn't really make a difference. But I'm quite sure that the target audience of your project doesn't consist solely of such people.
So in principle, this is possible.
I'll simplify. A line as such can be drawn with absolutely any ink, but if you want to get a red line, you need to use red ink.
What if we draw them with blue ink?
It still won't work. If you use blue ink, you'll get blue lines. And what exactly did you mean when you talked about the transparent ink?
How to better explain? I'm sure you know what transparent means.
Yes, I do.
And what a red line means. I hope I don't need to explain to you.
Of course not.
Well, you need to draw a red line with transparent ink.
Could you describe what you imagine the end result would look like?
Oh, come on, Anderson. What have we got here? Kindergarten.
No, I'm just trying to get
Let's not waste our time with these unproductive quarrels. The task has been set. The task is plain and clear. Now, if you have any specific questions, then go ahead.
You're the expert here.
All right, let's leave aside the color for the moment. You had something there also relating to perpendicularity.
7 lines, all strictly perpendicular.
To what?
So at least I hope you got a gist of what discussion is happening and why we need DP. What do you think is DP?
Design prototype.
Okay.
Design process.
Design principles.
Okay. Yeah, so these DP basically means the design principles, right? So basically, I mean, I hope you can appreciate, I mean, if you don't have design principles, you'll be keep fighting and you're not able to come up with a kind of conclusion, you just delegate the things. So yeah, so can you basically draw, I mean, 7 perpendicular red lines using transparent ink? Can you?
No.
Right. So otherwise, I mean, yeah, the discussion will keep going on and it is not going to end, right? It is not so that's why we need kind of design principle, what to do's, what don'ts of interaction design, and we need basically different generalizable abstract for thinking about different aspect of the design, what to provide and what to not to provide at the interface, and that is basically derived from the mix of theory based knowledge, experience, and common sense. So in short, we are going to, again, so design principles is not limited to some of the point mentioned here, but these are popular design principles that need to be covered. So like visibility, feedback, constraint, consistency, affordance, and so on. And finally, once you have all those design principles, how you can apply these design principles in practice, right? So design principles are basically used by interaction designer to aid their thinking when designing for the user experience. When I say designing for the user experience, so why I'm stretching for? Why we are not saying designing user experience?
Because you can
Anybody want to
You
comment?
cannot know whether it is
design for the user experience.
You can't actually design the user experience. It's up to the user to experience the product.
Exactly. That's why, I mean, as a designer, we can design for that, and it is finally up to the user how the user experience is, right? So for example, we're talking about visibility. So in this case, you can see there is a control panel for an elevator, often especially in the hotels, that you may have seen some elevator like this. You want to go up or down, or probably just push a button at the floor, but this is nothing happening. Do you know what is the issue here?
There is nothing written.
No, what buttons to what floor?
No, the numbers, for example, numbers are mentioned here, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever.
But it's not visible, sir.
Yeah, so that is one thing. That is the issue. What are the other issue that you can think? For example, somehow you try hard and try to find out which number is that and press, but still it is not working. So like nothing, I mean, push any other button. So for example, even though probably you press the wrong button, ideally it should go to the wrong floor, right? But still nothing is happening. What is the issue?
It might not be a button. It might not be a
Press the
button.
stop button.
I think first we have to instruct the lift that whether we want to go up and or down.
There might be
It should be mentioned whether it is a button or a touch and anything.
No idea, sir. Never happened to us.
Maybe it's a light, just a light.
Yeah, in many hotels, I don't know, you may have probably experienced. So in many hotels, what happens if you go, I mean, what you get as a key?
Card.
Usually usually get a card, right? And usually get a card, and these cards are kind of accessible and will help you to open the lift. That these cards are helpful in open your room and so on, right? Probably access different, you can say the resources which are available in the hotel. So basically what you have to do, simply you have to insert your room card in the slot by the buttons to get the elevator work. It's more about, you can say, for authenticity and so on, right? So I mean, I hope you can indeed see, I mean, it's a poor design because nobody knows what is, I mean, indeed you have to basically insert your card here, right? So that is the basically, yeah, so one good example of poor interface. So if you can somehow improve this poor interface, you should be able to basically do that, right? What next you can do? So for example, okay, so how could you make this action more visible, right? How you can make this action more visible? One possibility could be to make the card reader more obvious. So if the card reader is more visible, right? I mean, probably more obvious. I mean, you apply your intuition and simply swap it or insert it.
But sir, usually in these type of hotels, we do have someone like a concierge or a bellboy to help us get these stuff along the lift. So
That's true, but often people don't want many peoples to help you, right? And often probably hotel may have probably limited, because you may be comparing the example where you always have bellboy, but not the case all the time you will get it. And often people hotel want to make it self-independent, kind of just you're free to do whatever you want, and nobody is going to probably bother you. I mean, in that case, I mean, these are the common functionality which are there. Similarly, like provided auditory message says like what to do. I mean, simply you can play. I mean, whenever you enter the lift, please insert your card in the given place and press the number. Or similarly, what you can do, provide a big label next to the card reader that flashes just like this. So if you see the, the flashes is here, but somehow if you can probably more visible. So provide a big label flash next to the card that flashes when someone enters. Similarly, make relevant parts visible, or probably what has to be done obvious, right? So suppose if you have to add, make it more visible in addition to what we have discussed, what you would like to add? Anyone?
So by increasing the size of the card reader?
Yeah, that could be one possibility. So in this way, I mean, you can do basically. Similarly, you can provide feedback. So someone say probably insert the card, then there should be some sound or probably blinking of light or something. So these basically the feedback can help the user understand what has been done and whether the action has been performed or not. So that could be sound, that could be highlighting, animation, combination of all these, or it could be anything else. Even it could be haptic input, right? To the probably the person who cannot see.
Sir, can you show the previous slide?
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Yeah, similarly, the constraint, different people have different constraint. So for example, in this case, you want to constrain the user, like these options are not available for this particular case or user. Similarly, these are. So this basically help you in restricted availability of option based on the logical constraint. Similarly, one constraint could be, suppose in the old computers, I don't know if you haven't seen, often your mouse and keyboard slot is like this. You can insert one, but if you put I mean the option here, blue one is for say for example mouse, another is for keyboard, but you don't know which one is blue, which one is green. I mean, in that case, one possibility could be simply one possibility, put that adjacent to this or probably color code this so that it will be easy. So in this way you can make them more logical. Consistency is more about, I mean, you should have be consistent in different interfaces that you provide. Similarly, for example, if you do control C, then it should be same as control S and control O. So like, for example, when we say the control plus C here mean I need to press control and C simultaneously. And ideally it should be the same here as well. It shouldn't be here like I need to press control and the plus button and S button and so on, right? So that's why the consistency is also very, very important. So when consistency break, what happens? It could be a lot of, it can lead to a lot of issues. So that could be like that you can basically have, you can see here. So what happens if there is more than one command starting from the same letter, right? Similarly, we have to find other initials and combination for the keys and so on. So for example, control S change to control shift and psi. So increase burden on the user, because if you are going to increase so much thing, so it is not possible for the human to remember all those, and that's how basically affect your usability goals that we have discussed earlier. So internal and external consistency, right? So it's internal consistency refers to designing operation to behave the same within the application, and external consistency mainly refer to the design operation interfaces and so on to be on the same across applications. So I'm running out of time now, so I will try to finish rest of the slides in 1 or 2 minutes. Yeah, but not many are left. I guess only 2-3 slides are left. So again, so this is example of inconsistency. So for example, in the keyboard, if you give options like this in the mobile phone, but in other phone, if you give like this, it is often not possible, right? For you to find out where is one, where is two, and so on. So that's why you need consistency. The last part is affordance. So affordance refers to the attribute of an object that allows people to know how to use it. So for example, if you have a mouse, you know how to click, I mean, how to, I mean, use the wheel of the mouse and so on, right? Similarly, I mean, affordance could be if you have a door, it has a handle. So ideally, it gives us the clue, either we need to push it or we need to pull it, right? So basically, I mean, the affordance is divided into mainly two parts. One is the physical affordance and another is the virtual affordance. So at least in SCI, we are mainly focusing on the virtual affordance. So, so instead of interfaces are better conceptualized as a perceived affordance. So when I see the perceived affordance, so for example, the example is better UI or better button. So one example could be like in this case, right? So if you have, because you have elevator button in the many websites that you see, if you even in the Excel sheet, often you see this elevator button, right? So if you have to go up, what you do? You click this button, right? So that is called the virtual affordance. Similarly, if you have to go down, you need to click this button, and this elevator will button go down. So that is the perceived affordance, kind of giving a clue whether you want to go up, what to do. I mean, if you want to go up, what to do if you have to go down. Similarly, I mean, this button you can see. Do you know what
ये
happened?
क्या गजब बनाया मम्मी?
मम्मी को तो बता दो भाई. ठीक है. So do you know what this signal, this button is? What will happen if I click this button? Anybody know this symbol?
It will skip to the previous track.
Sorry?
It will move to the previous track.
It will go to the home, the first slide of the, right? It will go to the first slide. Okay. So I believe, I mean, I've given at least good overview of the whole introduction to SCI.
Sir, can
As
you
part of
explain
this,
affordance once more?
yeah. So when I say the affordance, as I mentioned, is basically refers to an attribute of an object that allows people to know how to use it. So kind of giving a clue what to do in order to perform different action. So just like in this case, you have a file, a web page where you want to go up or down. Like this particular button, basically giving you a virtual affordance, virtual clue. If you click this button, then probably page will go up. If you click this button, the page will go down. Like similarly in this case, I click this button. So this symbols is basically the if only have this triangle, that it means previous. If it has triangle then this, it means go to the home or go to the first page. And this exactly happened, right? If I click this button, if you I hope you saw, I mean, I reached to the first slide of my presentation, right?
Got it, sir. Thank you.
Got it.
Sir, explain
Wait.
about consistency again.
No, wait. So since I'm running out of time now, I mean, we have to finish the presentation. So we can discuss after the class. If you have any other question, we can discuss after the class. So the key point is interaction design is concerned with the designing of interactive product to support how people communicate and interact in their everyday and working life, right? Similarly, is concerned with how to create quality user experience with for services, devices, and interactive products, and so on. So I strongly recommend you to read the whole book, first chapter. It's very, very informative and will be useful to you. With this note, I'm going to start the presentation from the student. Who will be the first student? So please start, since you are already co-host now. Aditya, would you like to start?
Yes, sir, I'm sharing my screen.
Please do so. So please note that you have 10 minutes to for your presentation. So I request everyone to please pay attention, because you'll also have to present your work in front of 300 people soon, right? So it would be great if you support Aditya and team and Aftab and the Chitij and team and so on. Thank you so much. Let me stop my presentation, otherwise. Yeah, so now you should be able to share your screen. Great.
Just a second.
Chini kam hai, best of luck. Okay. So as I said, yeah, as I requested earlier, so please, yeah, so please discuss only relevant thing in the chat box and the thing. Yeah, sure, thanks. Otherwise, we don't have any other option than blocking you from the class. Thank you so much. Bye. Okay, start.
So is my presentation visible?
Yeah, I can see. Thanks.
Okay. So guys, this is our first presentation in the college, so please be gentle. This presentation is basically, in this presentation, we've realized some problems around us and we've tried to provide a solution for them through an app called the Insta Book or the IIIT book, a book of all your chapters at IIIT Delhi. This presentation is by Aditya Garg. I'm Aditya, a student of CSSS.
I'm Sumanshu Kadam. I'm student of CSAM.
I'm Vedant Patil, a student of CSAM.
Okay, so now let's begin with the presentation. As you guys might have noticed where these photos are from, basically this is just to give an idea about how the interface of the app will be. You can post about the events of happening in the college, or the latest achievements of the college, the infrastructure, or even why the college has been in news lately. So interaction design, what basically interaction design is? Design can be misleading because people can think that design basically means the physical appearance of an interactive system, but actually it is creating user experiences that enhance and augment the way people work, communicate, and interact. It has many components such as info systems, cognitive engineering, academic disciplines, HCI, etc. Here we've tried to explain what the basic design of our app will be. It has 4 interfaces, each dedicated to a different audience. One will be for students, the other for professors, alumni, and browsers are just the people who are not yet a part of IIIT Delhi but want to know more about the institute. All these interfaces will have no connection to each other whatsoever. The interface dedicated to students, there they can post basically just like Instagram. They can post about their daily activities, chat amongst themselves within their clubs or disciplines. There'll be a camp. This is for off when the campus opens offline. There'll be a campus map, and students can order food from the canteen, sitting in the room itself. Then the interface dedicated to the professors will have all these features. We'll provide a more user-friendly alternative to the Google Classroom. They can chat with TSTAs, and on and off, we've been seeing that sometimes professors do find a bit of a struggle in sharing their screen or figuring out how to go to the previous slide. So we just need to find a solution to that. And so through this app, they can hold meetings easily and can present whatever the slides they want to present. The alumni interface, through this, the people who passed out of the college can still keep knowing about the whereabouts of the students of the college and what recently the college has been doing. And for browsers, there'll be general information, statistics, and institute's achievements. So here I've put in a little image. I'll pinch out on it. This is a quadrant which basically divides any facility into 4 parts. Knows a little about a little. Basically, it's a beginner facility. Knows a lot about a little means it'll solve only a specific purpose. But what we aim our app to be is knows a lot about a lot. That is multi-expert. Jack of all trades, master of many means that we want to cater to all the 4 interfaces equally well, and every user should have a nice and pleasant experience from our app. So background is basically how we thought about the app, why we got this idea. There was an induction app created by our seniors, which made our the procedures during the induction quite easy for us. And so we thought, why not continue the app for our entire 4-year stay at the college? Then online communication was an ordeal for batchmates for triple IT'd emails. There was a lot of confusion. People didn't know which session to join when, and oftentimes people didn't even know where to upload their photos or videos which were asked during the induction. So online communication was a bit of an ordeal. Then, as I discussed before, professors finding sharing their screen a bit of a hardship. The process, the professors are there to impart their knowledge, right? So we should not trouble them with how to figure out the software and all. We should make a very user-friendly experience for them. And as you guys may have faced this problem, there are so many clubs nowadays. There are so many groups on WhatsApp, Telegram, now even on Signal. So it becomes a bit hectic to manage them also. Our app, through the app, you can interact with the college mates, your batch mates, and there will be no requirement of so many groups. Then outside Delhi people, now the people staying in Delhi, they can organize meets in campus, but obviously for outside Delhi people, it is a bit hard to make friends online. However, this app will provide a medium to contact your batchmates. But we ourselves, we still haven't been able to contact the 4th member of our group, Dhruv. We've sent him mails and all, but still we haven't been able to contact him. So yeah, contacting online is a bit of a hardship. Then as you guys might have noticed, I've taken this picture exactly from the tutorial because it best describes the steps of design thinking. So these are the steps which we'll take while making our app. The first step would be to empathize with the users, the target audience, through Google Forms and surveys. Then the step called define would include putting the results, the problems we found through Google surveys into words. In ideate, we'll come up with ideas addressing all the problems. Then is the 4th step called a prototype. We'll prepare a prototype which we can display in front of the alumni and the professors for funds. And then tests, we'll ask our seniors to run every test case possible. And we'll set up a good R&D team which can exhaust every possible permutation on the app, and then we'll take it to a senior level. And obviously, if we, as was mentioned, this is a cycle, a reiterative process. So if we get stuck anywhere, we'll revisit the cycle from the starting. The user understanding aspect of our app. So before I read out the features of the app, I would like to draw your attention towards this little photo over here. This is basically a research study that was conducted by psychologist Iyengar SS. In it, basically what he did was place 2 jam shops adjacent to each other. One shop gave 24 types of jams, and the other one gave only 6 choices of jams. So when asked from different people, they said that obviously they'll buy from a shop where there are more choices of jams. But when the experiment was practically conducted, they found that 30% of the people who actually bought jams bought them from the shop which provided less options. So the gist of this study is basically sometimes options are overwhelming. We should focus on simplicity. And that is what I've written here. Main focus of this app will be on simplicity, lesser the number of scrolls, lesser the confusion. So
very nice. Very nice, Aditya. So are other members also going to say, or you will be
yes,
covering?
sir. Yes, sir. This is my last slide. Then I'll just move on to the other one.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Yes. So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Vedant, and I'll be talking about the accessibility and inclusiveness of this app. So while the app is quite obviously directed towards the students and faculty members of IIIT Delhi, it is not only limited to them. In fact, even 11th or 12th graders preparing for their entrances can make use of the app as guests and take a virtual tour of the campus along with their parents. This is where ease of use will come into play. So with direct access to the IIIT database, the app would have pre-recorded information, basically saving the user time, and this would make for a really quick sign-up process where you just enter your college ID, set up a password, and proceed with using the app. The app will also feature a voice assistant similar to what we see in today's phones. There'll also be an easy search option that will help you find what you are looking for, easily making use of a few keywords from your side. It will also provide a low data consumption option for people in areas of low network connectivity. So using this, you can download what you feel is important and can come in handy later. You will of course be getting it in a relatively lower quality than what you would expect, but still it'll be readable nonetheless. A text-to-speech and vice versa feature for the visually impaired and closed captions on video clips for ones hard on hearing. The assistant will also come in handy for such students. The app will also feature a focus mode to help keep track of your phone usage patterns. It will not be mandatory to switch on, but it will be helpful nonetheless. So coming to the inclusiveness, the surveys conducted on Google Forms by the college will be directly accessible via a URL on the app, and the user can get done answering without having to open a new tab for the form. A feedback form will be floated every 5 months to know what can be improved and what the students want to see on the app, and an action team will be set up to review these criticisms and work on the necessary changes. Thank you. Over to Sumanshu.
Hi guys, I'm Sumanshu. So now comes the one of the most interesting aspect of this app, usability. So of course you have already read about these 4 groups. So let's understand every step with respect to our app clockwise, starting from efficiency. In efficiency, we have provided a feedback form. Every time you exit the app, a feedback form will pop up regarding your experience. Both critical and appreciate feedbacks are most welcome. Next, a R&D team will be available every time in the background for quick response to the difficulties user gonna face. With sometimes, Next one is learnability. Well, of course, our app has a very good design, but it will be considered an actually good design when a user is able to learn all functions. So a tutorial video how to use app will always be there in case of a student finds any difficulty in performing any task within the app. Also, a audio file and written transcript on the same will also be there for the challenged person. Besides this, as you all have heard in previous slide, help option will always be available under each page of the app. Now comes the student's favorite part. Sometimes unintentionally, when we were indulged in our work so deeply, we forget to join the class on time, which sometimes results in missing an important topic or sometimes attendance. Well, to take this unwanted forgiveness, a duly reminder notifications of joining class or club activities or sometimes seminar sessions will be sent by the app 5 minutes prior. Now coming to the next point, if you guys have used Twitter, then you know that whenever we reopen the app, it always takes us to the particular tweet where we have exited it. So a similar function is added there where you will direct it to the exact page where you have last exited the app. So let's moving to the safety. Next part will gonna be one of the most concerned property of the app, the safety. Well, unlike WhatsApp, student interface will be encrypted end-to-end and not monitored by anyone. #use signal. Next is a built-in pattern log will gonna be there so that no unwanted access takes place from someone's account. Last but not least, and backup email and a phone number will be added so that in case you forgot your password, you may able to access it again through your mail ID or maybe your phone number. Okay, next slide, Aditya. So now I'll just thank you all for your patience and patiently listening to us. I would also like to thank our TA Divyanshu Kumar Singh for taking our queries and answering them cordially, and a special thanks to Professor Rajiv Shah for providing us the platform.
Thank
We would
you.
also like to extend our thank towards the technology without which this project
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
have been existed.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And it is indeed a very, very nice presentation. And you have covered all the aspect, most of the aspect that we have covered in the class. And yeah, that's a very good start, I would say. And I believe others will be also following. But I believe Anjali Sarda has question for you. Anjali, please ask your question. Anjali Sarda. Rishabh Oberoi, I guess you also have some questions for presenter. Please ask.
No, sir, I don't have any questions.
No,
So
I
I think
can
so
see some.
Bhagesh has raised his hand.
No, but I can see some activities in the chat box, probably people asking something, right? So Anjali and
No.
so please focus on the presentation, right? So thanks.
Sir, what is R&D team?
Research and
R&D team,
development.
research and development, right?
Okay.
Okay, good. So who's the next presenter? Please start.
I'll just
Yeah,
stop.
So yeah, so indeed it was a very great presentation. I'm skipping the questions since we are running out of time, but yeah, it was indeed good presentation. We can discuss it offline as well, and that will be very, very useful for community. Yeah, so next smartwatch team.
Yes, am I audible?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, so hello everyone. So we have chosen a topic which actually it's an already existing device, which is the smartwatch. So our group, we are 4 people. I am Saksham, and the others are Aryan, Kshitij, and Vaibhav, and we are all from the CSIA branch. So, well, there has been a trend in the past few decades of computers getting smaller and smaller, right? So initially we had those computers which would take up the whole room, right? Then we had the laptops and smartphones, and naturally that has led to the invention of the smartwatch. Now it is basically a small computer, like I mentioned, in the form of a watch. You can think of it as a smartphone that you can wear on your wrist, right? And it has modern smartwatches come with a touchscreen display and Bluetooth internet connectivity, which increase their user functionality. Initially, they used to do basic tasks like calculations and setting reminders, but recently they've come closer to smartphones in terms of their functionality. So generally, in one line, I can say that they're very compact and easy to use devices, which help users be more organized and time efficient. So design changes through the years. We just kept it simple. We're trying to show you how the design has evolved. Now, back in 1984, as you can see, this is not like a very practical design. This is a very weird design. You wouldn't wear this on your hand all the time. There's something there's an idea that someone had, right? Like what could happen if we had a computer on our wrist? And they tried to go with it, but it wasn't very practical. So if we fast forward a few years, we come to 2013, where the smartwatches, it was conceived properly. The idea was actually conceived properly, and they were released into the market, and they started to gain popularity. Right now, these smartwatches, they come with their own operating systems, like Wear OS which is developed by Google, Watch OS, which is developed by Apple for Apple Watches and all. And here we've tried to show you the recent design, which is the square shape. It is the most recognizable design. It is also very aesthetically pleasing, which used to be a bad thing about smartwatches. Earlier smartwatches didn't look good on your wrist, but they look good now, right? You can wear them and they're very recognizable. So I would pass it over to Vaibhav now.
Target audience, it includes people of all ages. It can be used by professionals and for personal use. And for companies like Fitbit, Garmin, they specifically target fitness enthusiasts.
Coming to the features, it's not as good as the Spy Watch from SpyKids 2, of course, but it comes surprisingly close. I mean, if except for that hologram thing, you can actually text and attend calls without the hassle of taking the phone out of your pocket. You can listen to music, watch videos, schedule alarm and calendar reminders, and even play some games. And let's not forget, you can check the time. Smartwatches have made monitoring health and fitness very simple. You can monitor your heartbeat, the distance you have walked or jogged, calories burned, oxygen levels, and breathing patterns. Companies like Fitbit have even introduced ECG and sleep tracking, and you can read more about those in the articles mentioned below.
It comes under the inclusive design. It is accessible to all, and touchscreen and rotating bezel allows us to easily interact with it. And for visually impaired, there are functions like voice assistant, options to zoom. And for hearing impairments, it has audio editing features and text to speech. And it also allows third-party apps which help people with disabilities. For example, there is an app, Anuma, which supports children suffering from autism.
Life of the user is made very easy by smartwatches. They can be thought of as small computers on your hand that can perform any task you want, whenever you want. They
Is it
have
a
colorful.
recording? Sorry.
Yes, sir, it's recording, I believe.
No. I mean, are you speaking or is it recorded voice?
So I'm speaking right now.
Okay. Yeah, please go ahead. Yeah, very nice. I mean,
So, they can be thought of as small computers on your hand that can perform any task you want, whenever you want. They have colorful icons that make the watch look pleasing to the eye. Smart motion detectors switch on the watch whenever you flick your wrist and make user experience much more better, as the user doesn't need to touch the screen whenever he wants to look at the time. User can change modes of the watch like power saving or sport mode, depending upon whether they want better performance or a longer battery life. Users don't need a smartphone or laptop to attend calls, and they can just use a smartwatch to do the same whenever they want. All these features make user life easier and make user experience more enjoyable. These are the sources that we have used in our slides.
very nice. Very nice.
Thank you all for your time, and thank you, sir, for giving us an opportunity to present on this topic of interactive systems.
Yeah. So that's very nice presentation. I really liked it. And so one thing, can you just comment before Neelav asks question to you? So, I mean, what feature do you think is still missing here that you can add? I mean, if you have to add one feature.
Sir, I think we missed a point, which was that you don't have to pull out your smartphone all the time. Sometimes when you're working, if you have to pull out your smartphone, there are a lot of notifications as well. It can be very distracting, but smartwatches make it very easy. It's right on your wrist.
So can't you see the notification on the smartwatch?
Yes, sir, but it's like not, if you try to navigate through your phone, right, it's right there. But in smartwatch, it will show you the reminder you have to do, and then you can just go there. Also, the hassle of pulling out your phone, which is mostly a two-handed device, it's much easier to.
And
Yeah.
the best thing about smartwatches is the health and fitness part, because that's something the phones cannot provide properly, because they're not attached to your body all the time to actually monitor your heartbeat and stuff.
But sir, as like Samsung phones, we can monitor our heartbeat and even stress levels also.
Yes, but it is not as good as like.
No, it is much better than the smartwatches.
If you talk about.
Okay, one sec. Smartwatches, some smartwatches can also detect the amount of sweat you're giving out, and you're not carrying a phone to your body like every time, right? So they really don't take the amount of sweat. So smartwatches can also give you more accurate results. Also, supposing if you're in a swimming pool, you don't carry your phone there, right? But some smartwatches, they're water resistant.
Yeah, and I mean, even if you're sleeping, like smartwatches now has sleep tracking. Yeah, so if you're sleeping, you don't have your phone in contact with your body. So I mean, I don't think there's any way it can actually measure your sleeping patterns, unlike a smartwatch which you can wear while sleeping.
Very nice, very nice. Okay, so thanks. I think it's very good presentation as well as very good answers.
Yes, Shagun, you can actually wear smartwatch while sleeping. There's definitely no problem. I mean,
Yeah, I sleep with a smartwatch on my wrist.
Yeah, nice. So who's the last group? Please share your screen.
Yes.
And meanwhile, probably Aryan and others can take more questions.
Any more questions?
So, good morning, everyone. My name is Aftab Hussain, and we are presenting here a government policy awareness app named Aapki Seva. We are the group 24, Vedant, Arsh, me, Anshak, Goel, and Yashakran. The first detail about this app is being explained by Anshak. Over to you, Anshak.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. I am Anshak Goyal, and I will be presenting the background and objectives of our application Aapki Seva. So, sir, we know that every year a large number of government policies are implemented for different categories of people around the country, and people usually find it difficult to keep the track of such large number of policies that are beneficial for them. So, sir, even if you go to some government website, it's harder for one to find the policies that are actually framed for them, as the government posts all its policies on the same page, which is one of the major reason that when a particular policy is framed for a particular section of people, they don't even know that such a policy exists. And other than that, sir, there are also a large number of NGOs and government funded organizations that people are unaware of. So even if someone wants to contribute to one such NGO, they can't, as they don't know that these NGOs even exist at the first place. So these are some general problems that people face in day-to-day life, which we have
Sorry to
covered in the
interrupt.
background section here.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. So please wait. So I think, yeah, so Gurmahek, please tell who is Sana's Gill to others, because that is seems more important at the moment to Jatin and others, Sharthak and many others. Ayan, do you think really, I mean, you want to know who is that person is? So please, I mean, your colleagues, your friends are basically presenting in front of everyone. So please respect that. Yeah, please go ahead. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So these are some problems which we have covered in the journal problems which people face, which we have covered in the background section here. So I request Aftab to go to next slide, please. Yeah. So, sir, now our objectives are to make the browsing of government policies easy and hassle-free, and also to shortlist the suitable type of policies for the user. For this, the app will use certain filters using the data it has been provided to it by the user. So our app will only show the user those policies which are meant for them and not all the policies which are present on the government websites. And other objective is, sir, to let the people know about the documents required to avail the benefit of the respective policies. Oftentimes it happens, sir, that people have to go to government offices multiple times for the same task, as when they go there for the first time, they don't know which documents they require to avail the benefits. So so our app will actually be providing them the will actually be telling them the documents that they require beforehand going to the government office. In this way, they will be able to save a lot of time. And finally, sir, it will help the people to keep the track of NGOs that are currently active around them, so that they can make a contribution to those working NGOs. So from here on, I ask Arsh to take over and present the next section.
Thank you. Now I would like to talk about one of the most important component around which an idea revolves, which is design. Design is the magic ingredient which, whenever added to any object or any service, makes it attractive. Design of a mobile application must be easy to understand and should not be complex at all. Now, as design is a very vast topic, we have divided it into two parts. First is app interface and then app presentation. So next slide. Yes, now the app interface must be simple and easy to understand. In our app, which is named Aapki Seva, the users will have to sign up in the app using their phone number or email ID, which they have their choice. They can do either way. The users will then be required to fill in their general information, which includes numerous things such as age, gender, educational qualification, annual income, and etc. This was about the app interface. Now I would like to talk about app presentation. Now the app home screen or the main screen will be divided into three segments or three sectors, namely government policies, NGOs, and government organizations. The segment on government policies also shows a filter option, which would filter and sort the government policies which are best suited for the person or for the user. Now, at the top left corner, a menu option will be present, which takes the user to their account where they can edit their general information and add any new information. Also, a search bar will be present at the top, which allows the user to navigate through different options. Now, we also present the app, which will also provide a search history feature, which would help the user to navigate their searches. And now the user experience will be covered by Vedant.
Thank you, Arsh. I'm Vedant and I'm going to cover the user experience. As we all know, user experience refers to like how a product behaves and is used by people in the real world. Also, we know that we cannot design a user experience, only design for a user experience. Coming to the main point, the design of this app will be very user friendly and easy to comprehend. If we talk about the interface and app presentation that Ash talked about, like we are also planning to make this app in blue color, so like all the color blind people don't have any problem or something to like comprehend the stuff inside it. Also, the user will save an ample amount of time as they will no longer have to browse too many different sites, as many times there are like vague news or stuff going around on various websites. So like at this app they can like see everything, and like every official detail will be present here. Also, there will be a huge advantage for students as they can keep a track of various schemes related to scholarship, study abroad plans, or various internships. Next slide, please. Also, we know, as we said, the app interface will be very smooth and simple to handle. On the users will know, just will be just a click away of various policies or notices that government has issued for them. Also, most important part, that they will not fall prey to the clickbait articles regarding government policies and schemes. As we all have, as I have said previously, that there are very fake news and all, which will be like, which no one wants to see. And also, if we talk about like for social causes, if anyone wants to participate for various NGOs or any social work, they can simply volunteer for the NGOs by just filling a straight and short form, like by just filling out their names, and they can participate for any NGO and work for them that are nearby. The rest part will be covered by Yash. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Yash. So I'll cover the inclusiveness and accessibility part of this app. So in inclusiveness, I will basically tell you about the our target audience which will benefit from this app. This includes the rural people with less awareness about the government schemes. They can look up to this app and get to know about the various schemes meant from them and how they can take benefit from it. People with less knowledge of when and how to avail benefit of various schemes and policies will also be benefited from this app, as they can search for any scheme or policy and they will get to know about the deadlines and documentation for the scheme or the policy respectively. And people who want to volunteer through NGOs but don't know the process of how they can contribute, they can also look up for the NGO and see in the content what are the deadlines to apply, how can they contribute, and what work they can do. It will also help the people who are in distress and who want some help from NGOs or government organization for something, and they can also uh, check up the app and see what schemes are going on, and they can also take help from it. Next slide, please, Aftab. About the availability of this app will be available on both Android and iOS platforms through Play Store and App Store. It can also be accessed through website using your login credentials. And main thing is that it will be totally free of cost. And more information about this app will be available on our social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, Telegram, Twitter, etc. And now the feedback and conclusion will be taken over by Aftab. Thank you.
And now for a very crucial part of the app, which is its maintenance and improvement. For both of them, a necessary component is feedback. Feedback, we can say what we get from user, which helps in removing minor bugs as well as in filling some empty spaces in the app, which can mean the things which needed to be provided with the app. In this app, user are provided with a feedback form and a box. Feedback form are well categorized, as you can clearly specify about a particular portion of the app and tell the developers and or the people in charge on whether or how it needs to be improved. Also, also a simple walkthrough tutorial of the whole app has been provided to the user, from which they can understand better how to use the app without spending too much time figuring out that by themselves. Users are also provided with special separate general query section for if something that has been missed or not quite clear in previously mentioned walkthrough can be asked later on. General query section are designed such a way that not only developers but also other fellow users can interact with each other and answer many queries. User can also contact the developer via emails for general queries, and if somehow the feedback form is not working and many
Very
other
nice.
reasons.
Yeah,
And
very nice. Thanks. So yeah, it is indeed a very good presentation, and but yeah, it also hopefully will be very much useful for the people. So have you seen any existing such system?
Yes, sir.
So what is the name of such system?
Sir, yeah, there is a
Yeah, so we
Umang
have
app. There is a
one
Umang
very
app.
good question. So
Umang app.
Harsh asking about revenue model. I mean, how do you think is going to, because if you're going to make everything free, how it will work?
yeah,
So this is
yes, continue please.
So, sir, it
Would you
will
like
be
to
a
answer?
government affiliated app, as we have already mentioned earlier. So
Mhm.
it's to provide service to the people. That's why its name is Aapki
Got
Seva
it.
as well.
Got it. So it's kind of supported by the government, right?
Yes, sir. It will be supported by the government.
Okay, so Bhavesh, you had any question? Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Actually, like the members of the team mentioned that we will need to put in some kind of general information about ourselves, because the app will give us specialized schemes that are applicable to us, right? So, in order to provide us that kind of generalized, unique feedback, like which all policies are for us, the data that will be taken by the app, because if it is government supported, so whatever scheme that we are enrolling in, kind of that kind of data will be shared with the government or any third parties also, like will
Yeah,
this
as it will
kind
be
of model.
government,
No
so it
third
will be
party
shared
will be
with
involved.
government only. Even if you go to some government office, you are required to fill in your forms there as well. You need to share your documents as well. So it's just you are doing this on an application
No, but the
beforehand.
concern is valid actually. Yeah, because often you don't want to reveal all those data. So
Yes,
I
sir.
mean,
No
No, sir,
third
but
party will be involved.
if
It's
we
just the
want
government.
some income-based scheme, then also we have to provide an income certificate. And if we have to provide an income certificate, we have to get it through government only. And government already has those information of ours, so it won't make any difference.
No, my query was regarding third parties, because your revenue model is partially government supported, and if in order to facilitate for the
No, but one of the
R&D.
thing is we are not asking you to put the exact things there. We are not asking you to put your,
no,
your
you
income
cannot scold
statements
your
there. We're
user.
just asking like even the
You cannot
during the admission of college, it's asked
you
what's your
cannot treat
family
your
income.
user like that. I mean, wait. I mean, you cannot scold him. Okay. I mean, he might have valid or not valid question. Yeah. But anyways, yeah. I mean, that's indeed. I mean, that might be a very good use case for the people. And so, since we are running out of time, I don't want to hold so long. And thank you so much, everyone. I just only request you to please try to wrap up your presentation in the next, I mean, 10 to 12 minutes, the way second group has done. I mean, they covered everything very well in just given time frame. So if you prepare by yourself before giving the presentation, because you're presenting in front of so many people, right? So you should fully utilize and enjoy this moment. So from next group onwards, I request you to please I request you to please be on time. And thank you so much. So, okay, take care and bye-bye.
Okay, thank
See
you.
next.
Thank
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for
Take care.
your time.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye,
sir.
sir.